And hello, everybody. You're live Monday night. It's December 10th. And it's good to be here tonight. Oh, I got some good news for once, finally. Did get SherryTalkRadio.com back after wrangling for 4 months to get it back, or since September to get it back. And so now you'll no longer see a horrid bar website. SherryTalkRadio.com is back up, and so I'll have to change the links on some of my sites to lead directly to it. Just a little bit of wrangling there over the last several months. In the meantime, got SherryTalkRadio.net and SherryTalkRadio.org up as backup sites. I might change those two into something a little bit different. Maybe just put all my articles on one site, and I don't know what to do with the other. So many websites. So that's the way to do it, is to just change them. Keep the same info. Most of it's pretty much the same, although on thewatcherfiles.com I tend to have a little bit more fun with that website. I kind of stick to aliens and UFOs and underground bases for that website. And I started that website, I believe, back in 2003 or 2001, and I've never taken anything off of it. And so it's a fairly large site, and it can take you a month to get through it. I've heard from people that will just start reading the site and go through everything and tell me they've been reading for a month. And so there's a lot of information on that website. Various different stuff. And that's one of the things about the internet, is that a lot of sites at times will carry good information and they get tired of having it and take it off and put something else on. And then when people go looking for information they need, they can't find it because the websites that used to have it took it off. And so that's why I keep everything on thewatcherfiles.com. I don't take anything off, so everybody knows exactly where they can go to get information on underground bases, on the alien agenda, on shapeshifters, on aliens, UFOs, what aliens really are. I know Hollywood conditioning us a lot. This latest movie coming out, I Am Legend, seems pretty interesting. Sometimes I think they just spend too long on my website and then run with it for a mile. Because if you look at the last days are as the days of Noah. When the Lord returns, I talked about this last week and we're going to talk about it again tonight because he's leading me right back into it. There's people in the field. I mean, if you look at Matthew 24, and we're going to go through that here. It says the days of Noah, people are living normally. So I wanted to get back into this tonight because there's little things the Lord's been pointing out to me, and He'll do that when He takes you into something and teaches you something, and you'll leave it for a while and you'll go into something else, and then maybe several months or even years later He'll take you back into something to teach you even more, or to point something out that you missed or you've forgotten or you need to grasp again. And that's pretty much how He leads when He's teaching you something. He never just sits down and gives you everything you need to know about any one thing. And that's the difference between how the Lord leads and teaches His people and how demons channel to the New Agers. You know, the New Agers say, oh, I talked to an ascended master or a spirit guide, and he sits and they write down everything they say. And you know, the Lord's never spoken to me to where I could just sit down and write word for word verbatim everything He says. Sometimes I can grasp a few things and try to put it in some coherent form. See, you pretty much know most of the time when these people say, oh, I'm speaking for the Lord and this is what He told me. And, you know, they're channeling spirits is what most of them are doing. 98% are just channeling spirits and attributing it to the Most High God speaking to them. And you can pretty much tell by the false doctrines, the false teachings, the things they attribute to the Lord as saying. Because when you learn to hear His small voice in your spirit, you learn how He talks. You learn how he reacts to things. And He does have a different relationship with every person. But, you know, just like you have a different relationship with your mom, your dad, your brother, your wife, whatever, you still talk the same. You're still you. All these people will know you as you. And so that's how the Lord, He still talks the same. And I know I've had pastors ask me, how can you tell when it's the Lord speaking to you and not something else? And how can you tell right away? I used to get these emails. I stopped doing this. But I used to get these emails all the time from people over on the vision boards and the Word of Knowledge boards and all that Pentecostal hype. And I would reject it in 2 seconds after reading it. Sometimes I wouldn't even have to get past one sentence. I'd say, well, how do you know just reading it for 2 seconds it's not the Lord? I said, because that's not how he speaks. I know how he speaks. And it's the same way with other people. I'll hear from people in emails appreciating something I've written that the Lord told me or something. Go, that's exactly what he told me. That's exactly how he speaks to me. That's exactly what he says to me. I hear that from numerous people. And so I know the Lord doesn't change from one person to the next and speak a totally different way. He speaks the same way to all of his people. And so these other people that are attributing these messages and visions and words that are from him, they're not from him. They're from Sananda. They're from Satan. They're from that whole delusional and demonic crowd. And so that's why I reject about 99% of the things I read and see on the internet when it's the Lord's people speaking, because they're not speaking from the Most High. You know, they're all under delusions, especially the whole tongue-speaking crowd. It's just one big, huge delusion. And in Jeremiah, it even talks about how they attribute, how they'll copy each other's words from the Lord and say that he gave them something to speak, and they're just taking somebody else's words that he gave somebody else earlier. You know, and they do that. They copy and mimic each other. And also what they do is if you hang out on those boards, and I was saying to them, just saying, what happens is that the spirits associated with these false prophecies and false tongues, they just jump on everybody that visits those boards. And so all these people end up with the same spirits, same demons leading and speaking to them. You know, I could have a field day if I wanted to. I used to back years ago, and go bother the pre-trib rapture crowd just to have some fun. I actually thought I was helping at first, and it just turned into a circus and ruckus, and it just ended up being fun. I would get kicked off every time I'd go there, trying to tell them that the rapture wasn't going to come next month. It wasn't coming tomorrow. Your 4-year-old didn't have a dream from the Lord. I mean, they go on and on and on, and I just used to have some fun with that. And I remember the one time, one of the leaders, I think it's 4doves.com or 5doves.com, actually posted a Bible code. He actually gets this Bible code program and thinks he's some expert at it or something. I can't stand these people either because it takes years to learn the codes. And so I ran his exact code and sent it to him, the words he missed. Because he only pointed out in this code about this rapture what he wanted to see in the code. And when I do a code, I don't look for just certain words. I look through all 50,000 that are associated with that code and follow each word exactly how they're related to each other and where they are inside the matrix of the code. And so I sent him his own code about the rapture, and he was trying to state on the 5Dove site that there was a rapture and that it was going to happen soon and give it a month or a week, whatever. And when I sent him the code, the word false was running right through the word rapture. It was false and deception and fake and all this stuff. Of course, he didn't want to read that. He didn't want to see that. And so that's pretty much what I do to these people in these Bible code programs who think they're decoders, because they simply don't even know what they're doing. And that's why I won't spend 2 seconds of my time on their Bible codes. Unless I just want to redo them and send them back to them and say, look, you missed this, you missed that, you missed this. Because codes take an incredible long time to do. And, you know, if someone's going to tell me that they've spent 5 years and they've been led by the Lord, and the Lord's given them